Like,
well, I know it's not gonna be opposite. It's gonna get cut out.
well, I know, but we can move on. Okay.
Good question.
But you just hate happiness? So are you recording?
I think what I have to say is too negative, so maybe we should skip it.
My DPS connection.
Switch it on? Yep. Switch it off.
Kellen, that's gonna come up in the audio.
What was your first impression of DTS?
My first impression, it was really fun actually. It was orientation and a bunch of people came up to me and just started talking to me. And I guess that's how I formed my first friend group. And everyone was just really sweet to me.
My first impression? Well, I think I first walked in when it was a hard hat tour.
My first impression, so the first time I went here was when they were actually renovating the school.
And the building was in disarray.
So my first impression was kind of confused because I didn't exactly know how everything was going to work out.
I remember when I first heard about it, I was just really excited about it as an idea.
Well, I remember the first orientation day we had was when we were all playing Kahoot together.
I don't know, it was just new. It was a little scary because I was transitioning from middle school. I don't know, but people seemed friendly. I think that was my first impression there.
It gave real startup vibes, it didn't feel like a school so much as a business that everyone was kind of a part of, the teachers and the students.
It just kind of came off as a little bit of a middle schooler's dream high school.
My first impression of DTS was really exciting. I was really eager to, be in Seattle Center and get food. I thought the intensives felt like summer camp in a good way.
At first, it just felt like a summer camp because it wasn't we started with intensives.
I really liked the kids who were going here. They were really kind, really smart, and I really respected them. And they were all super into history, which was also super cool.
What was your first impression of DTS?
So I arrived at DTS as a junior in the middle of COVID. So that was really strange, but everyone seemed really welcoming, really friendly. I remember the PSATs when I met everyone in person. And I was actually looking forwards to the PSAT because I was so excited to meet everybody.
It's when I came for the open house because my brother is a year younger and was visiting DTS, and I remember just tagging along because we were excited for him to be joining a new school, and right away I wanted to come to DTS.
My first impression of DTS was that it was very small.
Certainly that it was very small. I think that's really the most staggering thing about the school.
Well, I thought it was a little small. I was surprised by the lack of people, you could say.
My first impression of DTS was that it was a very strange school, but a school with a lot of heart.
Well, I was looking at it, I was like, oh yay, small school. And then when I got here, I was like, a lot of these people are weird, and I don't want to talk to them. But then that changed pretty quickly.
It was also kind of just weird being a freshman, but without, the upperclassmen to really kind of show you what to do and what's going on.
I remember on the admitted students day, I was undecided on where I wanted to go to high school, but I remember going there and leaving and just thinking this is where I'm going to go to high school.
What was your favorite book or book that stood out?
I didn't really like any of them. I think, my favorite actually has to be
Their Eyes Were Watching God. I think that was probably my favorite.
Probably Romeo and Juliet. It's the first one that comes to mind.
I think this is a controversial choice. My favorite book is probably The Scarlet Letter.
Scarlet Letter, which a lot of people hated, but I really enjoyed it, and then I had this theory that Pearl was a ghost, and I am, to this day, ruthlessly made fun of.
But, hate me for it. It was a good book.
Top 3. You ready? Crime and Punishment, Fire Book.
I would say Crime and Punishment is Crime and Punishment.
Crime and Punishment. I feel like everyone's gonna say this, but Crime and Punishment was a really good book.
I like Crime and Punishment.
Crime and Punishment.
Crime and Punishment?
Liked Crime and Punishment. I wish it were a bit shorter.
Second, My Antonia, most overhated book we've read.
My Antonia.
My favorite book was a book that we read in the first half of the art history elective called Visual Culture, I believe.
This year we read a book called Black Moses, which I thought was really interesting.
People didn't like Black Moses, but I actually really enjoyed Black Moses. The ending was really sad.
Say Nothing. Definitely Say Nothing.
I really liked Say Nothing.
Say Nothing in junior year.
Just based off of instinct, I'd probably say Say Nothing. I think that was really cool to read. And I think the research essay probably taught me the most out of any essay I've had to write here.
Personally, I really liked the Say Nothing.
What was your favorite book or book that stood out?
I liked Oedipus Rex. I didn't expect to. You know, it's a Greek tragedy.
I really like Dante Inferno. Don't tell Brian though.
Dante's Inferno was really good.
Book that stood out doesn't have to be considered in a bad way. It doesn't have to be a...
Anyway.
I remember we read The Story of Mr. Sommer.
What was it called? Mr. Sommer?
Story of Mr. Sommer.
The Story of Mr. Sommer, because Brian just got so passionate about it.
The first part about that book was that it was existed in no libraries. It was out of stock in pretty much every place. It was just this weird random book that Brian absolutely loves. It's his favorite book ever. But it was super hard to get a hold of. I don't know if they're still doing that yet, just because I don't think there are any books left after our class cleaned out the rest of them.
I think it was Nervous Conditions that we read this year in 12th grade.
Probably Nervous Conditions. I think when we read Nervous Conditions.
I actually really loved the unit on the waka, the Japanese classical poetry.
I really liked the wakas that we did in senior year, but I feel like they came too late in my development as an individual and an author to have as big of an impact as they could have on me. But I felt I loved them regardless, but I couldn't help but think if they had been read earlier, I can see that having a really big impact on me as an individual.
Most memorable memory with a faculty member?
I think one of my favorite memories is with Dan. I needed a letter of recommendation, and I asked him the night before it was due, and our exchange was simple. I do a lecture for him, and he gives me my letter of recommendation.
Sophomore year, freshman year, I would bring in tea and I would put it in Brian's classroom, and the tea is still there to this day. I haven't gotten rid of it, but it's just it's kind of funny to really I on the shelf I just made my own place and just started putting tea, and then I would make tea in the middle of class. I think that's kind of a unique downtown school experience that only Brian would let me do. Leave tea in his classroom.
I remember lots of moments with Brian of us just making fun of each other during class.
Brian and his many kind of tricks he's pulled on students.
I was going on a trip right after school and I forgot my Dante's Inferno book, so I took Brian's and he's bothered me ever since saying I am a book stealer.
I don't know if this counts as one moment, but it was just a series of moments where every time I'd walk into math class with Ananya, she'd always smile and give everyone a big hug. That was really nice.
Ananya calling me her little gremlin.
I've had Lupe as my advisor for all 4 years. So just for me, that's been getting to know her better and developing a relationship. She's definitely one of the most special people at DTS for me.
I think one of my favorite memories was probably going to the Joan Michelin house with Lupe for our Spanish final.
I really liked in Spanish when we would go to KXP with Lupe. That was really fun.
In 10th grade, I told Lupe that I had a dream that she brought us cookies during class, and I just told her because I thought it was funny. And coincidentally, she told me that she had brought us cookies and they were in her trunk, and she just handed me her car keys and told me to go get the cookies.
Most memorable or favorite memory with a faculty member?
Favorite memory with a faculty member, I would say, I guess it's not a specific memory, but I'd say all of the random conversations that I've had with Brian have been really fun.
Mari sending out a burst message telling people to keep their clothes on in class in junior year was pretty funny. I was like, wow, what the hell is going on in these breakout rooms?
one time I was going to volunteer at an open house, and it was my birthday, and Kelsey had bought me a cake.
What was your most memorable or favorite memory with a faculty member?
I guess there's not a single memory, but I talked to Ashley a lot at her desk, and I don't know if I'm very special for that. I don't know how many people go up and talk to Ashley, but she's one of my favorite staff members because I can just talk to her about school stuff.
I mean, I liked debate club with Brian. That was also, don't tell him that, but that was fun too.
You know, probably just in George's class. Sometimes he just like gets on these random, like completely off-topic lectures, but they're always super engaging.
George yelled at all of us.
I think when me and Getty asked George if we could go to Starbucks during club's time, and then he took us.
In one sentence, what is DTS to you?
DTS is the place I went to high school.
The place where I went to high school.
My high school. High school. I feel so bad saying that.
A school, but also kind of like a collection of weird, fun people.
DTS is a lot of weird people having fun.
I think it's a unique place to learn.
I think it's kind of what I've always like wanted school to be.
A once-in-a-lifetime experience.
DTS is where a bunch of weird kids come together and form a nice community.
In a single sentence, what is DTS to you?
DTS is a place for me to hang out with my friends.
Community and a place of learning.
A community of good people.
DTS to me is a place where students can grow.
Certainly something.
DTS is a place where I found friends who made me who I am.
Small by design.
Small by design.
A small school, like it's you know, just kind of is what it is. I'm not sure how to describe it.
A small but strong and welcoming community where people with a bunch of different interests come together.
An experimental place that needs a lot of work.
DTS is freedom in your learning.
In a single sentence, what is DTS to you?
In a single sentence, I'd say DTS has been probably the best place in this city that I could have had a high school education.
What makes DTS DTS?
The people.
Is the people.
The people.
I think it's the people.
Just the people.
The people who are here.
The people, the students who go here.
People, obviously.
Probably the students.
The students, to be honest.
The students.
The students are what make DTS DTS.
Community here.
A community that knows each other really well, even if they haven't talked to each other that much, because they've had similar experiences with teachers.
What makes DTS DTS?
I think the teachers make DTS DTS.
The teachers?
Teachers and the like the culture of the school.
DTS's size and faculty is what makes DTS what it is.
I think it's the teachers. They really set the tone and cultivate such deep but also casual relationships with the students.
I think it's social structure and just how people interact with each other and with the faculty at the school.
I think a lot of it has to do with the size.
It's size, definitely. I don't think that you can have this feeling of community and these like people, these faculty relationships in a school that was really any bigger.
For me, I think it's just the size is really what kind of drives how it works.
I feel obviously the size for one, just being new. Like, being a new school just does so much for the school.
Definitely the fact that it is in Seattle Center.
You know, perpetual beta. Everything is always changing.
Perpetual beta.
Definitely us. Yeah.
How have you changed?
I think I've become more self-assured.
I think I'm a lot more confident in myself and kind of like self-assuring.
I think I'm a lot more comfortable with myself, and I've actually like enjoyed school for the first time in a while.
I think I'm more secure in who I am as a person.
I have a stronger sense of self.
I think in DTS I've definitely kind of grown into myself. The smaller size has helped me become more confident in talking to new people.
I don't know, I'm more confident.
I've become like weirdly more extroverted. I don't know. I think that's been a pretty absolutely massive change for me. And I've basically entirely switched from liking math to liking cool things like the humanities and disliking math.
I for most of my middle school life was like really introverted, and I think that's changed a lot.
Become like slightly more introverted.
How have you changed?
I became queer.
I've grown to appreciate sort of the impact of community a lot more now.
I think I've gotten a little bit taller.
I think I've become much more forgiving of